You have to detach yourself from the end. You have to detach yourself from the outcome that you want. Because when you're married to the outcome, you're going to be drained by the process. Welcome to the third quarter, a podcast dedicated to leaving the past behind and shooting towards a much brighter future. I am your host, Ace, and I am so grateful to be here for this episode that I believe is really going to be a game changer and really bless you, because it's definitely something that has blessed me and continues to bless me, and so I'm excited to share it. Today we are talking about how to remain positive when progress is slow. How to remain positive when progress is slow. And I'm going to give you 3 tips to implement today to help you stay the course when you are feeling discouraged. All right. So come along with me on this journey. We'll be on here for about 20 minutes. And I really do believe this is going to be beneficial for you. So without further ado, let's get started. Also, too, if you are new here, welcome. This is a community. We are a community-based podcast. This is not about me. This is about you. And the only way for this podcast to reach more people is by sharing the podcast, rating it, and reviewing it. And all I ask is that you do just one of those things, whether you share it, you rate it, or review it. It helps us out more than you know, and I'm very grateful for that. So let's get into the episode. How to remain positive when progress is slow. This is probably one of the most challenging things to do, right? When you're putting effort into something, you're committed to it, and you're just not seeing the progress, right? You're doing what you think you should do. You're following the plan. You're being consistent, and you're making changes, but the results that you thought you would see by now just ain't happening. The results ain't resulting. The progress is not progressing, and it could be very discouraging. It could be frustrating. It could leave you upset, angry, disappointment, disappointed, and it could be resentful. Like if I'm being honest, you could feel very resentful when you're making change. And I just want to speak to that part of life when you are making change, when you are making a decision, not a choice. You're making a decision. We've talked about before the difference between a choice and a decision. A decision means you are killing off all other options and you're left with one thing remaining and you are focused on that. And a choice is you're just picking something. You're picking something that you think you want to do, but you also have other options available to you if this doesn't go according to plan. So you've made a decision. All right. You didn't make a choice. This is the route that you're going. You're going to lose the weight. You're going to get in better shape. You're going to pair the relationship. You're going to start the business. You're going to start the podcast. You're going to create the content. Like you decided. Okay. So this is for the people. Hopefully this is you that have made a decision. There is no other way. You're not going back. Okay. You want to go somewhere and you understand that in order to go, you have to leave. You have to leave where you've been to go where you've never gone. Okay? So I'm talking to you. So now that we're clear on that, I want to be honest with you before we get into the 3 tips. This is going to be challenging in whatever endeavor you're going in. Okay? Let's just say, for an example, we're talking about you want to reclaim your health. You want to get in better shape. You want to lose weight. You want to get toned. You want to build muscle. You just want to really improve your health. And you're committed to that. You made a decision. A part of that is also being aware that this is about the long game. This is not about the immediate. We've talked about before, and I really believe this. God has designed everything for a relationship. Nothing exists in this world without being in a relationship. And when you are wanting to change and you've made a decision to change, a part of what this process is you becoming the person that the outcome that you're desiring wants to be in a relationship with. It's kind of like dating. You don't really date somebody to be in a relationship. You're dating someone to be present in the moment, and you're not trying to impress them. You're not trying to go above and beyond. You're being yourself, and you're being the person that you want to be to draw to you the partner that is best for you, that eventually leads into the relationship. Because if you're coming into dating trying to impress this woman or impress this man, and you're trying to show off, you're using words you don't normally use, you're trying to be slick, like you're trying to be something that's not you, you're putting too much pressure into the date. And the problem is, when someone is very self-aware and when someone is being themselves, they can sense your desperation. They can sense that you're trying to put on a front. They can sense that. And you're putting unnecessary tension and energy that does not need to be there, and it's robbing both of you of the experience of being able to enjoy this time together. So when you are making a decision to change in whatever field that is in, a part of this is you have to really get in your mind that this is about building a long-lasting relationship. And in order for a relationship to be sustainable long-term, is you and the partner have to be equally yoked. So whatever goal, whatever dream, whatever vision you have right now that you are frustrated about the lack of progress, or it's not progressing on your time, you really got to grasp that this is about you becoming the person that the outcome wants to be in a relationship with. So there's going to be some growth. There's going to be some hurdles. There has to be some type of adversity for the goal that you want to see, oh, this person is willing to do what it takes. This is somebody that I want to be in a partnership with. So when you're wanting to change your health, like I've lost 60 pounds in a year. The interesting thing about it is I didn't set out to lose 60 pounds in a year. It just happened that way. And the reason why it happened that way is because I wasn't forcing physical change. I wasn't forcing my diet to change. I wasn't forcing the gym to work. I was being present with where I was, and I was being honest with that space, and I was allowing time to develop me into the person that good health wanted to be in association with. I want you to wave your hand if that makes sense. I want you to say yes in the car or wherever you're listening to this if this makes sense to you. So before we get into the first tip that I have on how to remain positive when progress is slow, is you have to go into change with the mindset that this is about building a relationship. And in order for a relationship to be fulfilled, each person has to be in a great relationship with themselves first. Now, the difference in this and in a person-to-person partnership, right, is the goal is already whole, right? The weight loss, the money, the dream job, the career, that's already set in stone. They don't have to change. They don't have to become whole. They are who they are. This is about you becoming whole within yourself. This is about you leveling up your identity. This is about you raising your standards and raising your value. This has nothing to do with the goal. If I don't get the goal, the dream, the vision that's in my mind, in my heart, and in my spirit, it's not the goal's fault. It's not the vision's fault. They are already where they're supposed to be. This is on me. So if I don't get it, it's because I wasn't attractive enough for the goal to want to be in a relationship with me. Does that make sense? So if you want to lose the 50 pounds, you have to become someone worthy that the 50-pound weight loss, the good health, the consistency, the discipline, the lifestyle wants to be in a partnership with. This is why crash diets, cleanses, detoxes, these things don't work long term because it's not sustainable. You're trying to build the relationship on the first date. It's not going to work. You're trying to propose on the first date. It's not going to work. You don't know each other. Your lifestyle has to get to know you. It has to see you go through adversity. It has to see how you respond when things aren't going your way. It has to see how you respond when someone throws, a curveball in your life. It has to see how you respond to when your back's against the wall, when you don't have the answers, when you want to give up. It has to see how you respond to that. That's when it's like, yo, that's my man, that's my woman. It has to see you do that. And it can't see you do that on the first date because it's not real. It's not organic. It has to see you do it in real time. So the first tip that I have for you to remain positive when progress is slow is to understand that slow progress is a part of the process. That's mandatory. It has to see you do the work when you don't see the fruit, because that's who you really are. When things are going your way, that's not who you really are. Who you really are is when things aren't going your way. When you're not seeing the change. When you're not seeing the hard work pay off when you think it should. That's who you really are. How do you respond to that? What is your response to that? Someone told me a long time ago, if you really want to know if someone is for you, how are they when they're angry? How are they when they're upset? How do they speak to you? What do they do? It's easy to be in a relationship when everything is okay, when everything's great. You're firing on all cylinders, like everything's in place. It's a different conversation when one of you is thriving and the other one is struggling. It's a different conversation when you are growing in different directions and someone is making you feel resentful for you wanting to grow. Talk to me when you guys go through some stuff. It's like when someone is, you just got married and you giving people marriage advice. It's just like, you just got here. You know what I'm saying? Now you can probably give me dating advice, but marriage advice, I need someone more seasoned than that. So you have to understand, I had to understand that slow progress is a part of the process, but here's the freeing part in that. Slow progress is still progress. But the reason why you want to embrace the slow progress, and I know this is going to sound counterintuitive, and I know some of you are going to listen to this and be like, I don't like that. But I promise you it's true. The slower it takes for you to get where you want to go, the better it's going to be for you long term. And here's why. Character needs time. If you get everything you want when you want it, your character is not going to be developed. The longer that it takes, the more your character is being formed. So when you do get it, you keep it. Now, I'm going to go off script here because I don't have this written down. I'm going to go off script. Most people don't want the lifestyle of someone that's healthy. Most people don't want the lifestyle of someone that is financially wealthy. Most people don't want the lifestyle of a couple that has a fruitful relationship. They think they do. What they really want is the feeling of someone that's healthy, the feeling of someone that is financially wealthy, the feeling of a fruitful relationship. They want the outcome of that, but they don't want the responsibility and the accountability that it takes to build it, and it takes to keep it, and it takes to elevate it. The lifestyle are the decisions and the sacrifices that you make that allows you to see the fruitfulness of the relationship, or being financially wealthy, or being physically fit. Most people don't want the lifestyle, they want the life. They want the feeling, not the lifestyle. So remember, when you make a decision, a part of that contract you made with yourself is you're prioritizing the lifestyle, not the feeling of the life. And so when you say that you want to get in better shape, you want the outcome. But what you have to desire is the decisions, the discernment that creates the lifestyle, because that is what's going to afford you the opportunity to keep it and to sustain it. So when you're doing these crash diets and these cleanses, you're prioritizing the feeling of being fit, not the lifestyle of becoming someone that is fit. So the slower that it takes, the more you're going to prioritize the lifestyle and not the feeling of the life. Okay? So that's the first tip. Okay? Slow progress is progress because the progress develops your character. Now, the second tip is this. Another way to stay positive when progress is slow is when you're enduring this thing that you're trying to do in whatever field that it is, and I know I'm using fitness as an example here, but this can go in any area. The second thing that would help a lot is knowing that this is a long-term play. Okay? And this is why this is important. And it's kind of connected to the first point, but it's also kind of not. I lost 60 pounds in a year, but I didn't try to lose 60 pounds in a year. Okay? I focused on where I was in this part of my life, and I mastered that space. And what a lot of us do is that we overestimate what we can do in the short term, and we underestimate what we can do in the long term. And so we commit to these short-term goals that sound great, but are really not realistic. I'm going to lose 30 pounds in 60 days. And you haven't lost 30 pounds ever in your life. And now you want to put a 2-month time frame on something that you haven't done in 40 years. You're setting yourself up for disappointment. No wonder why you're frustrated. No wonder why you're angry. Because you thought that you can do something in the short term and you overshot it. But if you gave yourself more time to allow your character to develop, to allow your habits to develop, to allow your consistency to show up, you will be surprised of what you can accomplish in 6 months, in a year. I didn't think I was going to lose 60 pounds. I didn't think I had 60 pounds to lose. But when I submitted to the process, and I let go of the result, right? You have to You have to detach yourself from the end. You have to detach yourself from the outcome that you want. Because when you're married to the outcome, you're going to be drained by the process. When you're married to the outcome, you're going to be drained by the process. And my transformation happened when I let go of the outcome that I desired and I submitted to the process of where I was. And once I did that, the transformation took care of itself. All I had to do was just show up. But if I was like, oh, I need to lose 60 pounds. I said I was going to do, like, you're putting too much pressure and too much unnecessary stress that does not need to be there. So the second tip is you have to submit the outcome and worship the process. I evolved into someone that lost 60 pounds. I didn't set out to be someone that lost 60 pounds. It just happened that way. And that's how real transformation works. You're not trying to get the outcome. You evolve into it. I didn't try to lose 60 pounds. The transformation dictated that on its own because of what I brought to the table. Remember, the outcome is always there. It does not have to change. It's 100% whole, but you have to meet it at its level. And once I raised my level up, the transformation took me there. So one of the reasons why it's hard for you to remain positive when progress is slow is because you're trying to get it now. You're trying to get it now. No, you got to let go of the outcome you desire and just submit to the process. And when you put the process as the priority, you will eventually get the prize that you were looking for. And here's another thing too, as an aside, I'm going off script again here. If you worship the process and you let go of the outcome, every single goal that you want will just fall in your lap. You won't even have to try. And there's going to be some things that you accomplish that you didn't even set out to accomplish. The transformation just brought it there. You may have goals and things written down that really, if you just focus on the process of one thing, the other things will just fall into place automatically. All right. So the second thing I have for you is submit the outcome. Let it go. And prioritize the process. And let that carry you through into your transformation. Okay. And the third and final tip I have for you is this. If you are struggling with staying positive when progress is slow, I need you to ask yourself one question. And I believe if you ask yourself this, truthfully, I believe you'll get an understanding why it's hard for you to stay positive. And the question is this: why are you doing this? Why? Are you doing this for other people? Are you doing this so people can look at you differently? Are you doing this because you feel pressured? Are you doing this because why? If it's a surface level response, it's going to be very difficult for you to get through this because it doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't hold any weight. Like when I really decided to transform my health, it had nothing to do, like even though my breaking point was when I was getting measured for one of my best friend's wedding and I felt disgusted seeing myself being measured in my drawers and no shirt, and this woman is measuring me. Like I felt so exposed. Even though that was like the breaking point, the reason why I was like, the time is now, was because this is going to cap off how many people I can encourage, inspire, and help. Because if I'm not practicing what I'm preaching, I'm limiting my reach. Like, my legacy depends on this. My future family depends on this. Like, this has to be a non-negotiable thing for me. I am self-sabotaging the plan that God has for me. This is not about, looking better in clothes. This is not about having a six-pack. All those things came along the way, but that was not the reason. And so when you ask yourself, why are you doing this? And it's like all about aesthetics and how people perceive you, you're not going to last long. That's not going to carry you through tough times. So the third thing is, when you ask yourself that question, you have to make sure that the reason or reasons why you're doing this are pulling you and not pushing you. When it pulls you, it's an internal thing. It's a spiritual thing. It's bigger than you. When it's pushing you, it's extrinsically motivating. It's not intrinsic. The intrinsic reasoning is what's going to carry you through when progress is slow. It's not the materialistic, it's not the external, it's the internal. So ask yourself this question: why are you doing this? What's the real reason behind this? And when you start peeling back the layers and you finally get to the place where the reason why you want to make this change, the reason why you're making this decision, and the reason why you're going to stick this through is bigger than you and is pulling you now, oh, yeah, it's going to be easier for you to remain positive when progress is slow because you know it's not about you. One of the reasons why it's hard for people to change is because they're making it about them. This is not about me. Me doing this podcast right now is not about me. My transformation was not about me. It was so the transformation can go through me to help transform other people. Yes, I went through a transformation, but the transformation goes through me to you because I lived it. I know what it's like to be in that seat. I know what it's like. And I want to help as many people free themselves from sitting in that seat so they can transform and help transform other people. But it starts with me. This is not about me. This is about you. This is not about you. This is about them. And when them is priority and them is pulling you, it's going to be easier for you to stay the course when you don't see the progress and to stay positive. All right. I hope this episode served you. I hope it helped you. If anybody came to mind, feel free to share with them. And remember, I just ask for you to do one of three things. Share this podcast to someone that you know and love and care about. Leave a review and or also rate it 5 stars. But also, if you haven't done so yet, please follow the podcast so whenever we release a new episode, you are notified. I love you so much. Be safe, be blessed. And thank you for listening to the Third Quarter Podcast.